Not all the apprenticeships, though, that we've been building have been in the traditional fields of construction or manufacturing. One of the things we have emphasized in Washington State is the building of non-traditional apprenticeships. And we have some pretty unusual ones. We have an apprenticeship in something called a health unit coordinator. That's the person who sits at the desk on a hospital floor and make sure, it's kind of like an air flight controller, make sure all the traffic, the LPNs, RNs, and the docs is going as it's supposed to be in a smooth fashion. We have an apprenticeship in cosmetology. We have an apprenticeship in something called a dispensing optician. So we have some pretty unusual ones, and today out of the 16,000 apprenticeships in the state, 1,500 are in these non-traditional fields. One of the things that we had observed in Europe was that apprenticeship didn't begin as it does often in our state and elsewhere in the United States around the age of 28, 29, 30, but instead begins when people are still in high school or right directly out of high school. And we saw the numbers in our state that less than 1% of the apprentices in our state entered directly out of high school. So the governor pushed a bill that was enacted that was dubbed the Running Start for the Trades. The term Running Start came out of basically was a college prep dual enrollment program providing dual credits in high school and college. But for a Running Start for the Trades, what it is it's grants to schools so that they can reorganize their career and technical education programs to be pre-apprenticeship programs where the completers have direct entry agreements into a registered apprenticeship program. And by today, I think there are now 28 secondary schools in the state that have received grants under Running Start for the Trades and have formed, in many cases, the direct entry agreements with the local apprenticeship councils. And even in these tough budget times where our state budget of $34 billion has to be cut by $9 billion, from what I can tell in my BlackBerry the last couple of days, both the House and the Senate proposals include continued funding for Running Start for the Trades. So it's a very popular program. As far as planning in WIA, we at the State Workforce Board where I work, we include in our state strategic plan for WIA the expansion of apprenticeship, include strategies for doing that in the state plan. And we require that the local WIBs in their strategic plans mirror that. That when we review the local plans, we look to make sure that they include the expansion of apprenticeship, and that's required for them to include that in order for their plans to be approved. And then finally, I want to touch upon state research. One of the things I think Washington State is known for around the nation is having a pretty rigorous set of evaluations of the effectiveness of our workforce development programs. We go as far as we conduct formal net impact and benefit cost evaluations of all the major workforce development programs in the state. So for example, for apprenticeship, we've taken and statistically created a similar comparison group, similar in terms of demographics and work history, education history, of people who do not go through apprenticeship, and compares what happens to those who do go through apprenticeship with that comparison group. And we've demonstrated very strong positive impacts on earnings, benefits, and then for the state, tax revenue from those additional earnings. And that the tax revenue generated by apprenticeship far outweighs the rather meager amount that the state contributes to the cost of apprenticeship programs. We have found that the apprenticeship programs have the strongest outcomes of any of the workforce development programs, the highest employment rates, and the highest earnings. And the apprenticeship community has taken this research and used it as they've marketed apprenticeship and have gone to the legislature and asked for additional resources for apprenticeship, and I believe it's been helpful. Just to touch on a couple lessons learned. One is that even a little bit of money can leverage change. $1 million of WIA money isn't really that much in the scheme of things, but it's really important for building partnerships between the WIA system and the apprenticeship community and help to get that relationship going. Gubernatorial leadership is really helpful, and I know most of us don't have much control over that, but when you got it, it's great. When you have the governor have the first bill she signs into law be about apprenticeship, that sure sends a powerful signal. And then finally, having convincing results helps with marketing. Research often is given short shift, particularly during tough budget times, but when you can demonstrate the type of results that apprenticeship has achieved, it really helps when you're approaching the legislature and others for resources to help expand apprenticeship.